The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stage Door Show tonight. This is Dave Hondel. Tonight, our guest, Katy Tessman, is the author of Our Mama is a Beautiful Garden. It's a breast cancer book for children. She was named Changemaker by the Minnesota Women's Press, received the Mom's Choice Awards, gold medal, and Moonbeam Children's Book Awards, silver medal. And she's also a great musician, fantastic, author, musician, and just we can't wait to bring her in. So welcome to the show, Katy Tessman.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me here.
So before we start, I know we talked about this before we started recording, but we went to high school together and really didn't even realize it, right?
We did. I still live in Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. Man, my mom still lives there, but I do miss Minnesota. And for people who have never been there, I mean, Minnesota's it's one of the most beautiful states you'll ever see. And not only that, but the music scene in Minnesota has always been strong. I know when we were growing up in the 80s, going to high school there at Robbinsdale
late
Cooper.
80s.
Late 80s, yeah, right. Very late 80s.
Yes.
Music was huge back then, obviously, with Prince and Rembrandt's and there's the Jets. We went to school with the Jets. I mean, there's so many things that were going on in the music scene back then. But when did you become interested in making that kind of music that you make? I mean, when did you become interested in that?
Well, all through school, I sang in the choirs and was in the musicals. And then I went to college at Morehead State University. I was a theater major for the majority of my college career, but then I realized I didn't want to move to New York or LA. I wanted to move back to Minneapolis. And a degree in theater wasn't practical for me. So my degree is in speech communication. And my senior year in college, was when I picked up the guitar. And I was drenched in music by the Indigo Girls and Dar Williams and Sean Colvin. And I was totally inspired to pave my way onto coffeehouse stages, playing covers of their songs, Ani DeFranco, even Greg Brown songs. And then I started songwriting when I was about 23 years old. And that's when I realized that was the kind of stage I wanted to be on.
It falls hard when it hits the ground, breaking free from where it was bound. Does love choose, or is it simply found? Because it keeps coming around, mumbling and fumbling, mangled and tangled, mumbling and fumbling, mangled and tangled.
And that's very young too. I mean, in music, a lot of people, get into it, like you said, in college or maybe even after that. But, 23 is still, you have your whole life ahead of you, you still, and to do music like that and also play in those coffee houses and intimate stages. I mean, for me, I kind of look at it like it's the intimacy of the crowd. I think it's more powerful. It can be powerful because you're looking at the expressions right on their faces. You're right in front of them. And sometimes I love watching, documentaries and shows of those coffee house type, performances, and they're very, very powerful. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you play a lot of coffee houses there in the Twin Cities, but not only that, but some of these coffee houses, some of these small intimate stages, I mean, they're very well known. Like I said, the music scene in Minnesota is so big. So, I mean, when you walk into these places and perform, these shows, I mean, that's got to be breathtaking for you.
Yeah, yeah. My musical career has a big 20-year gap. I was a performing singer-songwriter for a decade, playing in smaller venues, but then I had a band and I released a couple of albums. My album release show was at the Fine Line Music Cafe in downtown Minneapolis, which is a huge venue and so much fun to play at.
Yeah.
Then I had a 20-year break, and now I just released my second solo album. And the music scene in the Twin Cities here is totally different than when it was 20 years ago. The venues here that are really supportive of singer-songwriters are very intimate and beautiful listening rooms. We've got the Astor Cafe in Minneapolis, right on the river. It's beautiful. And behind me in the window of the stage, you can see the downtown skyline. And that's where I did my album release show and filled the house, and such attentive audience. And they get to be super close. So you can do eye contact with each person and, feel the love. And there are a variety of venues like the Astor Cafe.
When you can't find consolidation in the sky, or see the flames staring back from behind your eyes, you start to wonder if there ever really was a why. It just don't seem right. When you're too tired, you just let the phone ring, or hurt yourself so you can feel something. What you got don't seem better than nothing, but it's gonna be alright. Your heart's worn down, you hit the ground, you feel you'll never rise above. I just want you to know right now, you're not too broken to love.
When you mentioned the Fine Line, for those listeners out there, the Fine Line is iconic in Minneapolis. I mean, Prince and so many people have played the Fine Line, and to play the Fine Line, that's a big deal as well. And, the album you're talking about, Fly, I understand you're still on tour with, and you have 2 dates left in December that people can get tickets for. So talk about those 2 dates that we can get excited about here.
Yes, since the release of my album in early October, I have been on a 13-city tour throughout the state of Minnesota, and I have 2 more shows coming up in December. Saturday the 2nd, I'll be at Dusty's in Northeast Minneapolis. I've curated a showcase of 3 of us women singer-songwriters, Samantha Grimes and Mother Banjo and myself, are each taking turns performing in the big green booth. And then on December 20th, I'll be at the iconic Turf Club in St. Paul. And I'll be joined by my whole band, Katy Tessman and the Turnbuckles, which includes my son on electric guitar, Louis Tessman Stanek, my bandmate from the 90s, Tom Lear on bass, and Kelly Lima, our high school classmate, will be on drums.
Wow.
And
amazing.
At the Turf Club, there'll be the Foxgloves, which is an all-women bluegrass band, and then Wild Horses, which is a folk rock band from northern Minnesota, where I have a lake home up in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, at the Turf Club.
Rapids, wow. Now, Grand Rapids was just in the news again. It seems to be in the news with the slippers from Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, and Judy Garland's museum is in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids is her birthplace.
Yeah,
yes.
birthplace. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's pretty cool. Anybody who's not been to Minnesota, like I said, you're really missing out. And by going to these little towns, these listening rooms and cafe houses, the coffee house is just amazing. So definitely, if you get a chance, and especially the wintertime, and like right now, I mean, this is a great cozy place to go listen to some great music. And so that's, we're looking forward to those two dates of yours, to finish out your tour. So I also want to get into, you being an author, writing a children's book about breast cancer, because I know you're a breast cancer survivor, and you wrote, a book from I guess the inside of your two boys, right?
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
During my 20-year break from the stage, I raised two boys, and I had a victorious battle with breast cancer. I'm one of the lucky ones. I was 39 years old when I was diagnosed. It was my very first mammogram. And when I got the results from the biopsy, I wanted to find a book that I could read to my boys, because they were ages 6 and 3. And I never found the book that would explain what was going to happen to Mama, give them some hope. And so I found my own words, and I compared cancer to a bad weed in my garden. And I realized, after I started growing my hair back and all of my reconstruction surgeries were done, I realized I wrote the book I was looking for, and I wanted to share my insight that I learned through my whole process with my little boys. And because they stayed so optimistic, I realized that our story needs to be told through their voices. And so I tell the story about when Mama had a bad weed in her garden. I commissioned Minneapolis artist Jessica Bailey to do the illustrations, and it's already on its 2nd edition.
Wow. Now, where can our listeners pick up that book? Because I think that's an important book for anybody going through the same thing. And even if they're not, I think every family is touched somewhat by breast cancer. And I know somebody in every family, I believe, if they, research that there's somebody that's always going through something like that. So where can they find that book?
My website, katytessman.com. That's a great place for people to come and look at my books and hear my music and see when I'm playing again.
One of the things that I know you've talked about that on some of the news programs you've been interviewed on, and I know throughout Minnesota you've been on quite a few interviews, local TV and so forth. So how has that been for you in your music career? Have you found that for our listeners out there who are artists themselves, do you find that being interviewed and doing shows like this, that helps your career?
Absolutely, Dave. Artists are really lucky. There are so many podcasts like yours that help champion the independent artist. And when you have something to say and you want to say it through, whether it's books or music, it's challenging to make sure it lands where it's supposed to land. And with my books and my music, I want people to know that life is hard and you're not alone. And so I want to foster a sense of togetherness with my music.
Hey, it's Dave from The Stage Door Show. Have you ever wanted a digital business card that would speak for you? Well, let me introduce you to TalkingVCard. Imagine this, a business card that doesn't just sit in somebody's wallet, but actively introduces you, shares your latest work, or even a special message. That's what TalkingVCard is all about. It's modern, environmentally friendly, and has been an absolute game changer for networking in this digital age. Now here's the most exciting part. For a limited time, you can get lifetime ownership of your very own TalkingVCard for only $99. Plus, to ensure you're maximizing its potential, they're offering a free consultation to help supercharge your brand. As many of you know, TalkingVCard is a proud VIP sponsor of our show, and I've been using it personally. The feedback has been absolutely amazing. For everyone tuned in right now, if you're looking to make a lasting impression and elevate your brand, I genuinely recommend giving TalkingVCard a try. There's a unique link on our show notes that'll take you straight there. And remember, maybe the next voice somebody hears from a digital card will be yours. Stay creative and stay connected. TalkingVCard. And now, Katy, with, social media and streaming and everything like that, I mean, you can, your footprint's in Minnesota, but that doesn't mean that you can't, spread that positive, messaging, which I know you do through the streaming platforms, but, have you ever thought about maybe touring outside of Minnesota and some of the, venues around the country? Have you done that, or is that something you want to do again if you haven't already?
Yeah. Before my children were born, I went on 2 national tours out all the way out from Minneapolis to Seattle and Portland and back. And then I went as far east as Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and back. And now with my new album, and my boys are older, I am able to make some plans to bring Fly on the road. And I'm processing and thinking right now, researching places of where I want to go. And I love to hike. So as I make stops across this beautiful country of ours, I want to make sure I'm able to spend some nights in the woods.
Well, that also might inspire some songwriting, right? When you're out there, you can meditate and be one with nature.
The majority of my songs are written while I'm moving my body.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's everybody's got a different motivation, but I think that's amazing. I do my best thinking when I'm out in Minnesota in the countryside and sitting on the lake, in a boat or under a tree.
Yes, I surprised myself last February and wrote a song while I was shoveling the driveway again.
Right. Oh, wow.
I haven't recorded it yet, but it's one of my son's favorite songs.
Now, you mentioned your kids, getting older and one's in the band. So what's the one thing, I like asking this question because, a lot of artists have the opportunity to, perform in front of people, and it's got to be exhilarating, but what's the one thing that puts a smile on your face when you're out there working, doing the music and performing? What's the one thing that puts a smile on your face more than anything?
While I'm performing with my son, Lewis, I think the thing that makes me smile the most is while he's soloing, he's asking for a longer solo. And it's great. Just amazing. I got some really cool footage from our last show that we were at the Turf Club. We did a live music video for my song Hero Now Crowned. And I have the accompanying lyric picture book for that song.
Nice.
And the live music video has me like gush smiling, mama smiling over her young adult son. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yes.
So Katy, when you're doing the shows, do you have merchandise there that people can buy, like your CDs and your books?
Yep, absolutely. My CDs and books are always there. And I for this album release, I got some screen prints of book bags that feature art from the album cover, and then lyrics from the single from the album. And then I also got some t-shirts. I red t-shirts that have lyrics from my song Vines. The bridge goes relentless, determined, twisted, and tough. And that's what's on the t-shirt. And then at the December 20th show, I'm getting brand new baseball jerseys. They are raven black, and they say Katy Tessman and the Turnbuckles. We'll see. With merch, it's hard to know what people are going to be interested in.
Yeah, but that's a great name for the band, by the way. Turnbuckle. Turnbuckle, that's great.
Turnbuckles are an important piece of hardware.
Yes,
they keep things tight.
That's right.
And my guys keep things tight.
Yeah, that's if you're a band, obviously you want to be as tight as possible on that. And I want to ask you as an artist, and kind of talk to my listeners out there. But what kind of advice do you have from your years of traveling and years of playing venues? What kind of advice can you give somebody just getting started out?
Dream big. Take small steps to get toward that big dream. You're the one that knows your message the best. So you should be telling your message, sharing your message. Collaborate with people. Show up for your friends that are musicians. Share spaces. My word for 2023 was share. Usually like a New Year's resolution, it sets in around February about what my goal is for the year. And for me, it was share. Definitely sharing stages, backyard shows, sharing co-writes, collaborating that way. Yeah. And I'm looking back at the year. I'm really, really happy with the choices I made with the sharing that I've done.
Well, you get to, I mean, I think that's in collaboration, share. We talk about that a lot, and I think with new indie artists, especially, I think my biggest message, especially in the future of where music is going, is collaboration is almost necessary to reach out to different audiences, because you may have a niche yourself, but if you collaborate with somebody that might not be in your genre, how great is that to cross over to another whole new audience that might not have known about you. And I think it's amazing. Music has a way of connecting people like no other medium out there. And, the more you collaborate, the more you get your message out there. I mean, you're going to reach more and more, and it's not about gaining more fans. It is, making your message heard by more people, and you never know who's going to jump on board and become a new fan. So I think that's a great thing to share the stage with other people.
Right. My new album has 9 songs. One is a co-write with my album producer, and one is a cover of a song written by Minnesota songwriter Tim Cheesebro. And I think it's important that we lift each other up and help amplify each other's voices that way.
For sure, 100%. Well said. Katy, what? And again, I'm on your website. I apologize. I don't want to get the dates wrong. Can you talk about your upcoming dates again before we're done here? Because I want to make sure people get the chance to write it down and go see you. Yes. So talk about the last 2 dates again on your tour and where they're going to be.
December 2nd at Dusty's Bar in Northeast Minneapolis. I'll be performing solo. And then December 20th, I'll be performing with my band, Katy Tessman and the Turnbuckles, at the Turf Club in St. Paul.
Figures on the side of the road, feathers feasting as I slowed. Eye contact freezes time, rushing memories fill
listeners going out to see Katy, make sure you pick up her merchandise when you're out there, and her wonderful books, I should say, and then CD. So that'll be available for sale as well. And just gonna have a great listening experience. And I'm guessing you stay afterwards and meet the listeners as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Yes. I always stay and hear the other performers that are playing that night, and I love talking with people after shows. Absolutely.
It's awesome. And before we go, Katy, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Well, being diagnosed with breast cancer at such an early age, I've been thinking a lot about legacy for a long time. Being 14 years cancer-free is pretty awesome. Legacy is I think I want people to know that I celebrate people's summits as well as stumbles. Optimism is one of my superpowers. So say my parents. And I want people to know I'm a very optimistic person, and that's a great way to live your life. But I also, through my music, focus on the tough things in life. And you don't get through life unscathed, but we're all in this together. And there's a lot of love in the world, and it's important to spread it around and share it through music.
Absolutely. And, just going through hard things. Congratulations, by the way, for your surviving so long with that's amazing. But, I think going through tough things like that, it also shows children that, that you can overcome, things that are bad in your life. Like you said, everybody has things happen in their lives that aren't positive, but how you treat that and turn it around and do a positive, I think it can go a long way, to build that character in everybody. And so, kudos to you and your children, and, just the music that you make and the positive messages, and, just nothing but, great success to you in your future and into your children's future. And, thank you for taking the time to come on my show and talk about your positive messaging. And everybody go see Katy if you're in Minnesota, if you're not, go to Minnesota. It's a great place to go, even if it's the wintertime. It's beautiful there.
It's great. And then
and
stream my album.
CD. Yep. And then on all streaming platforms as well.
Yep.
Okay.
It's everywhere. And you can go to my Bandcamp to download the digital album if you want, if you like to listen to music that way too.
And KatyTessman.com. Again, KatyTessman.com. Everything is on her website. You can, purchase, music and the book and everything else and see what she's up to. It's a great website, by the way, Katy. I'm really impressed with.
Thank you. There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot on here. It's very visual. So great job on that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Independent artists and new artists are really lucky that we've got you to help amplify our voice. Really appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you so much, Katy. And I hope you have a great night. Thank you.